Assalamu alaikum. My name is Marvi Sahar, and I did my masters in information technology. I have an experience of 1 year of teaching. Basically, I taught English and general knowledge to the primary sections, but my major is computers. So we are going to choose Today, I am going to talk about the input and output devices. In this lesson, we will discuss these two major components of a computer. Computer usually basically consists of three main parts or components, you can say. Uh, the first is input, second one is the processing part, processing unit, that is the CPU of the computer, and the third is the output devices. So let's talk about the input devices first. What are input devices? Well, I usually say that input, the name refers what they means. Like if you divide this word input into two parts, put something in. I usually talk about like this कि आपने जब भी कोई चीज़ किसी के अंदर डालनी है input, so input devices are usually that sort of devices that you usually use to put something into the computer. These things and the what you usually put in the computer, the data, okay, any instruction that you want the computer to process and give you the result out of it. So input devices are the devices that you usually use to put instructions or data into the computer. Here on the slides I have written some definition, common definition, like input devices are the tools that enable us to interact with the computers by providing data and instructions. Examples of input devices usually daily when you think about a computer, so input device that usually comes into your mind are keyboard and the second is mouse. So they are the two basic input devices that were used initially वेरी फॉर द फ्रॉम द बिगनिंग जो उनसे दो डिवाइसेस यूज़ होती थी वो ये थी इनपुट के लिए एक कीबोर्ड होते था कीबोर्ड एंड द माउस. There are many other devices also now these days, as you will be able to understand in the upcoming slides. What these devices do basically, they transfer data from the user. They take data from you and they give it to the computer. The computer processes it, and in the end it gives you the output. So commonly used input devices that you can see in the picture also, I have written only four here. uh, Keyboard, and you can see in the picture here that the keyboard consists of different keys. These keys are some alphabetical. The alphabets are included in the keys, and numbers are also here, and some function keys, and some symbolic keys also for the mathematical equations and solutions. Mathematical keys are also there. A keyboard consists of keys representing letters, numbers, symbols, and functions used for typing text and issuing commands. The commands usually are in the form of can be in the form of instructions and written instructions, statements, and they can be in the form of pictorial also. You can insert pictures also into it, but not from the keyboard. For and the next device is mouse, a pointing device used uh, to move a cursor on the screen, that is a mouse. And it does look like a mouse. It comes into your hand. If you imagine it like a mouse, well, it will give you a creepy feeling. Don't imagine it like that, but still. The third is another common device is touch screen. I think most people among you will know what is a touch screen. Just look at your hands. Most of the time, you have a device in your hand. It's just is either it's a smartphone or a tablet or a touchpad. So these devices are using touch screen as the input device. You use your fingers to give instructions to the to your tab or and any Android in your hand. Microphones. Another input device is microphone. It converts sound waves into the digital audio data and used for input, voice input, communication, and recording. You can see in this picture there are also some other input devices like scanner. It scans the data and gives to the computer and the processing unit. You can say in general terms. Light pen, joystick. It is basically used in gaming. Trackball. This is another form of mouse. And a webcam. Webcam can be used as an input device because it takes your video and inserts in the computer. Output devices. The second devices are output devices. Well, when you put something in, it gives you something out. Every action has a reaction. This is a two-way procedure. तो इनपुट डिवाइस जब आप कुछ इनपुट डाल रहे हो तो आपको आउटपुट भी चाहिए होता है बेसिकली तो हम आउटपुट लेने के लिए ही तो इनपुट डाल रहे होते हैं ठीक है तो आउटपुट दैट कम्स आउट ऑफ द computer or your in the result of your input that is an output and the devices that are used to see output or take output from the computers are known as output devices represent data processed by the computer to the user in a human readable form. Examples of output devices include monitors, printers, speakers, and projectors. These devices transfer data from the computer to the user. Okay, what do you understand by it? Let me say, have you this term here I have used it deliberately. पहले मैं I didn't wanted to use this. पहले मैं इसको use नहीं करना चाह रही थी human readable form को. But then what does it mean? कंप्यूटर डजंट टेक अंडरस्टैंड आवर नॉर्मल लैंग्वेज हम जो भी बात बोल रहे हैं कंप्यूटर उसको डायरेक्टली अंडरस्टैंड नहीं करता है लेकिन ये तो हमारा ह्यूमन रीडेबल वी आर ह्यूमंस वी टॉक इन अवर ह्यूमन लैंग्वेज बट द लैंग्वेज बेसिक लैंग्वेज ऑफ कंप्यूटर्स इज zeros and ones it understands only in zeros and ones but we human normal humans मतलब जो generally humans हैं can we understand zeros and ones we can't understand them but so the but every instruction we give to the computer is in the form of human our language and that is human understandable and the output also we see on the computer is also in a human readable form the computer takes data in the form of human readable form and it also returns us in that form also okay so don't get confused with this term that we are only saying it to make you clear to you should keep this in mind that what we are giving is in human readable and what we are getting is in human readable that is we can understand that anybody can understand it but the computer it is usually doing a lot of conversions at the back end which we normal humans don't know मतलब जो end users हैं जो हम लोग usually सिर्फ कंप्यूटर को यूज़ कर रहे हैं हमें नहीं पता कि पीछे कितनी प्रोसेसिंग चल रही है and that processing is in the form of usually zeros and ones conversion a lot of conversions are happening there. Commonly used output devices are you can see in the picture also if, are monitor, printer, speaker, headphone, projector. Monitor, what is monitor? It usually looks like a computer's screen, the screen of the computer. You can this for an LED. Yeah, no. The monitor's example can be LEDs a very common example because today I don't think सबके पास कंप्यूटर होता है एक बेसिक कंप्यूटर लेकिन सबके पास एक टीवी ज़रूर है एलईडी वाला तो दिस इज़ द एग्जांपल ऑफ मॉनिटर जो आपको रिटर्न में सिर्फ डाटा दिखा रहा होता है वैसे एलईडी तो आपको डाटा उन्हें दिखा रहे होते हैं लेकिन जो कंप्यूटर की स्क्रीन होती है दैट इज़ ऑल्सो इन द फॉर्म ऑफ दैट्स आउटपुट डिवाइस जो आपको रिजल्ट दिखा रही होती है आपके किसी भी इनपुट का या जो भी आप उसको इंस्ट्रक्शंस देते हो डाटा डालते हो आपको जो प्रोसेसिंग चाहिए होती है वो आपको मॉनिटर पे शो हो रही होती है प्रिंटर्स आर द डिवाइसेस आपको जितनी भी हार्ड कॉपीज आ रही होती हैं जो आप प्रिंट्स निकाल रहे होते हो या आपको कंप्यूटर की स्क्रीन पे आपको बताते हो कोई भी पेज प्रिंट करने को बोलते हो एंड दिस प्रिंटर गेट्स यू द हार्ड कॉपी ऑफ दैट so this is also an output device. Speaker, you see your sounds, any audios from the speaker. Headphones, you can use either speaker to listen to some music or the headphone to listen to it. Projectors are the output devices also give present usually use them in the giving presentations. There are some devices that work as both input and output devices, like touchscreen, webcam, and here's a picture that you can see that is divide very easily. You can see from here that the devices that can be used as an input device as well as an output device: digital camera and pen drives, touch screens, fax machines, modems, CDs. These sometimes work as an input device that takes data from you and can be used an output device that they are returning you data from also. So at some places, depending on your need, you can use them as an input device to give something, put something into the computer, and as well as output device to return something you can save your data into it and move them to some other place to also again use them as an input device. Okay. The summary of today's lecture is that input devices facilitate user interaction and data entry. Input devices are those devices that you use to input data or enter data into the computer, and output devices are the devices that you use to take data from the computer or the computer that returns you the information it processed in a usable format, again that you can understand that information. Understanding these devices is crucial for efficient computer usage. या आप इनको समझे बगैर कंप्यूटर को यूज़ नहीं कर सकते. अगर आपने कंप्यूटर यूज़ करना है तो आपको इतना तो पता है कि आप कुछ दे रहे हो और कुछ ले रहे हो, इनपुट एंड आउटपुट. सो दीज आर द टू वेरी crucial and important devices if you are working with the computers. I hope